Hi, JJ here from 22 Explosive Hits. Wanted to show off some stuff that I found recently at Half Price Books. At Half Price Books, one thing they do have are Laserdiscs. I collect Laserdiscs. If people do not know, I do have, just move my camera real quick, 2 players right there. They're stacked up on each other right there, hooked up into the big TV that's here in the room. So I do play a lot of Laserdiscs on my system, and I'm really into them, and I find them really cheap, both on eBay and at Half Price Books. I'm also finding that they sit a lot in people's eBay offers, so I'm able to pick them up from eBay very cheap. I'll make offers that I think are ridiculous, and they'll accept it because they've probably been sitting on it for so long, because only certain people had Laserdiscs, let's face it. Anyways, the first one that I have, which is really cool artwork, is Dracula. This is Francis Ford Coppola's version. It has this really cool gatefold on here. It's kind of splitting apart here at the seam, but this is nonetheless the gatefold for Dracula, which is done by Francis Ford Coppola. Pretty Woman. I have this on Laserdisc. I had this in the original collection of my Laserdisc, so I'm happy to have it actually back in the collection. The next one I have is, let me put these down better. There we go. A Few Good Men, another gatefold. This is one of the cool parts of Laserdisc. You Can't Handle the Truth has all the chapters on here. Laserdiscs in their part. Laserdiscs were actually analog. They did digital audio, but the video was actually analog on these. But they were able to support like tracks, so somebody talking, describing the film. All that was done on Laserdisc long before it was ever done on DVD. This one, I picked up a ton of Star Trek episodes, both very minty condition, very cheap, and I also picked up some that are sealed here. So I'm going to go through them rather quickly, and the reason why I got them. This one's Star Trek Space Seed. Everyone knows Space Seed. That's the debut of Khan. Next one is Tomorrow's Yesterday. That's when the one astronaut shows up from the current time period. This one's sealed. I've not opened it yet. Brand new sealed. It's The Savage Garden and All of Our Yesterdays. 2 episodes. Episodes 77 and 78. This one is sealed. Just has 1 episode on it of Turnabout Intruder. The next one is one of my favorite, A Piece of the Action. Another one, my favorite, is Metamorphosis. Kind of where we get to see whatever happened to Severin Cochrane. We kind of get to see his backstory, what actually happened to him. That character is also in the movie First Contact as well. My favorite Star Trek episode, I'm really happy I finally found on Laserdisc, is City on the Edge of Forever. It's the whole concept behind where this woman must die in order for the time period to stay the way it is. And Kirk is struggling with that because he's falling in love with her. Last pickup I got was this. I didn't get this from Half Price Books, but this is one of those ridiculous offers that I made on something. I got Wayne's World on widescreen. For those of you who do not know, has Alice Cooper in there as well. Next one I got is Biloxi Blues. This is with Matthew Broderick and Christopher Walken. I think Christopher Walken does an amazing job as a drill sergeant in this film. One of my favorite films of all time that I love to quote is The Sure Thing, with John Cusack, Daphne Zwinga. It was directed actually by Rob Reiner, produced by Henry Winkler. The Fonz himself actually produced this movie. It's about a guy that travels across country with a girl, and they actually end up falling in love. But it's actually a really fun story in the way they put it together. Actually, my favorite scene in the movie is actually with the famous actor Tim Robbins. He has a very small part in the film as these geeky people that are going to drive them and kicks them out of the car. That's in this movie. Really good performance. Next one I picked up is The Saint with Val Kilmer. Those of you who are really into The Saint, a little bit of trivia, at the end of the movie you actually do get to hear the actual Roger Moore, does the narration, does the voice. So he actually kind of makes a cameo in the film as well, based on the part that he originally played back in the 60s. Found this one at Half Price Books. Who was I not to get it? This one is Major League. For those of you who do not know, this was shot at County Stadium in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes, it was directed by David Ward. It starred Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Corbin Burnson. Also, as the evil guy was Pete Vukovich, who was actually one of our star players. So they had a really hard time not getting for us to cheer for him. We actually had to boo him. And it was very hard to do that. The other problem that David Ward had with the crowd was the sound mics were picking at people yelling, "Charlie, Charlie," rather than his character of Ricky. So he had to play with the microphone, play with the sound because he wanted real crowds. So I did an important film. Wesley Snipes is also in this one as well. Even Spike Lee said that after he saw the film, seeing why he went to go do this movie as opposed to doing one of his films. So there's the back of the film. To give people a perspective, that was County Stadium right there where they're sitting in the dugout. There's another shot of the live crowd at County Stadium. I was actually part of that live crowd. I went out there, got out there at 5 in the morning. I stayed out there as an extra. I never could find myself in the movie, but I do remember singing the song Wild Thing until my voice was hoarse because we must have sung it till 2, 3 in the morning. This locker room right here was actually the locker room for high school of Nicolet. Nicolet High School was a high school over by, on the I guess you would call it the northeast side of Milwaukee, the area around there, a very ritzy area. They were redoing the locker room, so they took advantage of it and actually made it into a major league locker room. So that way it was huge and they could put cameras inside. If you've ever been inside of a real locker room, it's really hard to fit everybody in it. So there you go. That's Major League, shot in Milwaukee, and I now have it on Laserdisc. Last Laserdisc I got is White Nights, right there. Actually, this is not a Laserdisc, I'm sorry. This is the vinyl record. All right, this is the vinyl record that I picked up. I picked up the soundtrack. The only song not on here is Say You, Say Me, which I actually did get on 45. This one has on there Separate Lives, Far Post, My Love is a Chemical, The Other Side of the World. If you saw this movie, they would play the music at very loud volumes so that the KGB, when they were listening to them, wouldn't be able to hear what they were actually saying. So the music and the soundtrack actually played a heavy role in this movie. And the last soundtrack that I picked up at Half Price Books is the soundtrack to the TV show and movie Battlestar Galactica. I loved Battlestar Galactica. Vipers, Cylons. I'm a junkie for the original. I liked the 1980 when they could actually do the bikes and actually jump up. I thought that was great. So this is actually one of my favorite movies. This is a sample copy. This is a promo copy right there. So I'll be saving a lot of that. So that's the latest I picked up based on movies, Laserdisc, and some soundtracks from Half Price Books. If you have any comments, please leave them below. And I just want to remind the vinyl community, let's bring each other up rather than bring each other down. Have a great day.